So when I came home for winter break in 2018, my mom had bought a Ouija board. And this was my second interaction with the Ouija board. The first was horrible. The second one was turmoil. And I just want to post this story as a warning to anybody who needs it. If you look like me, you shouldn't need it. But I needed it, obviously. Never use a Ouija board. I think really that they only harness evil spirits. There's nothing good that ever comes from them. And I'm gonna have videos throughout this video because I got proof of everything. Okay, so the people involved were my mom, her ex-husband, and then his 2 daughters. When we ordered the board came same day. The board came quicker than we've ever seen an Amazon package arrive. This is when Amazon Prime had just come out, so we had never seen anything like this. We were like, what? Okay, so boom, now we have the board. Immediately, we're just joking around. We're playing around. We're asking stupid questions like, I'll show y'all that too.
Does Mel fart in his sleep? Do I?
The spirit that came through was Abby. That's what she said her name was. Abby was the only one that ever came through. We tried to get other spirits to come through. It didn't. It was always Abby. And Abby really just made us laugh. It actually got us very comfortable using the Ouija board because it was just such a funny experience. We even asked her to see if she could shake her interdimensional booty cheeks like she used to be twerking. Got that on video too. 1 second.
Can you show us you twerking? Wait. Everyone, one finger so everyone can see that Abby is really twerking her butt off. Twerk harder, Abby.
Now, I'm not even gonna lie. We used to think that his youngest daughter, we gonna call her Paris. We used to think she was the one moving it because we were just a little skeptical. But y'all saw our fingers move. Like every finger lifted off that planchette at one point in the end of that video. Okay, so now, just so it doesn't get too long, go to part 2. But if you're seeing this, it's already up. It's already up. Two of my family used the Ouija board and a spirit broke my mom's ankles. So this went on for about the entire week, really. We were just always playing with this Ouija board. And once we realized she could twerk, one thing that we used to do was play music. And whenever we played music, she would move the planchette to the beat, the exact beat, as if she already knew the song. And one way that I used to make sure that nobody else was controlling this was I put on an Afrobeat song. In my family, I'm the only one that listens to Afrobeats, any music coming from Africa. So I knew nobody knew this song but me. That was it for me. That was it. Nobody was moving that planchette. There was a force, a spirit moving that planchette, speaking to us, literally laughing, joking with us. Abby was sassy, okay? Abby would say things like, now we're about to get into how my mom broke her ankles. Abby used to say things like she don't like my mom because she's sleeping next to her husband. She used to say, I don't like you next to him. Sleep on the couch. Go sleep on the couch. Stop sleeping in my spot. Things like that. She would also talk about how handsome her husband was. We can call him Marvin if I ever use a name. Marvin. Marvin was the husband. She loved him. She would talk about him all the time and she hated my mom. So my mom, she started getting real sassy. Let me show y'all. This one is so bad.
Stop! Angry. Are you angry? Why? Because we're alive and you're dead? Mom! I know. But there's no way of changing that, is there?
So, number one, at that time, we did not know that when a spirit starts counting, she's trying to get off that board. We didn't know that. Number two, my mom been cussing spirits out my whole life. If she lose her keys or if like she knows she has something and it went missing, she yelling at the ghost to give it back. Like, it wasn't too surprising and it also wasn't too scary because nothing ever happened when she did that. This turned out to be a little different. So I would say that's when the energy changed from like, oh, we're joking, laughing, and dancing with this Ouija board spirit to, okay, she's saying some weird stuff now. Like, and yeah, my mom was getting sassy back because she was talking about she don't like my mom and to go sleep on the couch and stop sleeping next to her husband. So like, when that energy changed, we weren't even joking no more. We were like, all right, this is getting kind of weird. Let's just stop. And I'm trying to remember like something specific that we were like, this is just too much now. That moment did come, but I can't remember exactly what, because we were dang near addicted for like the whole week. So now the next week's starting, and my mom is getting up to go to work. She's coming down the stairs. I'm sleeping on the couch. I'm on winter vacation. And she walks out of the door and closes the door behind her, and I just hear her blood curdling scream. Like, I can't reenact it, but just. So my first assumption is that she slammed her finger in the door, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my mom is so dramatic. Why is she screaming that loud? But then seconds later, her husband comes bolting down the stairs, and I'm like, what's going on right now? I'm so confused. He opens the door. My mom is laying on the concrete with both legs overturned, like her ankles were broken, both legs overturned. And when you walk out of our apartment, she was coming out the back way. There's 3 steps you go down. She was on the bottom of the steps. We're like, what is going on? The injury was so bad. She was in so much pain. We had to call the ambulance immediately. They had to investigate the staircase to figure out, like, was the staircase wonky? Like, what really happened? She was never like okay again after that. I don't know if my mama will want her toes on the internet, so y'all can't see them, but this is what the ankle looked like. You see the other one is in the brace already, but that is black and blue and just horrible. Now, where does Abby come to play in all of this? According to my mother, when she opened that door to walk down them stairs, she felt 2 hands on her back push her out the door. She was pushed out the door and down the stairs. She said she did not fall. So yeah, that's pretty much it. My mom is still struggling with it today. She actually just got x-rays showing that her spine is being misaligned now due to walking on those injured ankles for so many years. So don't play with a Ouija board, bro.
So this is my second time trying to tell this story. I'm not going to do all those cuts and fancy thing that people on TikTok do. I'm just going to tell the story. So when I was 18 or 19, I was with my mom. I'm from a small city in Illinois, southern Illinois, basically. And we were riding around one day, and we happened to come across this yard sale. So she wanted to stop, and I said, okay, let's go see what they got. So we get there, and you can tell everything that had been laying on the table, everything was basically covered in like a fine layer of dust. So either it was in an attic or a garage or something, I don't know. But I was looking on the tables, and I saw an Ouija board. It was fully intact. It had, on the inside of the box, it had the board and the planchette. So I asked my mom if I could have it, and she said yeah, and so took it home. Fast forward to maybe 6 months. I never opened it, by the way. So fast forward 6 months, I get my own place, I box it up, and I put it in the utility closet. Fast forward another 3 months, I finally remember that I have the Ouija board. So I was already out. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna stop and pick up like this cheap bottle of vodka, and I'm gonna go home and play with the board. So I get home, and remind you, I had stored my box in a utility closet. So I opened up the utility closet, and I guess the water heater that was in it had leaked or something. But I had it stored in just a regular cardboard box. Completely soaked the box and everything that was in it, including the Ouija board. Completely warped the board. It was ruined. I couldn't use it, so I had no choice but to throw it away. Well, next day I call out maintenance to have them come look at the water heater because I don't want it to continue to leak. And they come out. They open up the utility closet. They poke around, look around. They said that they couldn't find a leak. So I don't know, was it some sort of intervention or something? Because like I said, I had a bottle of liquor and was ready to go.
Hey y'all, so I'm back, y'all. Please forgive me, y'all. I've been working these 14, 16-hour shift at work almost every day. I got to get these coins, y'all. So that's why I be tired. By the time I come home, I'm like, man, forget them damn videos. I'm tired. But anyway, so I owe y'all a video. I had posted about the Ouija board. Okay, so me and my twin, we was probably like 11, 12 years old. So we always saw this commercial on how they show you before Christmas, they have all these commercials come out with all the toys. So we saw the commercial about the Ouija board. You see a bunch of little teenage girls. They run a Ouija board and they ask them, am I getting my allowance? And the thing's like, yeah, is it would I pass my test? So they made this seem fun. So me and my sister before then never heard of a Ouija board. Never really heard of it. And so we begged our mama, hey mama, can we go get the Ouija board? Can we get this? Because at first we was like, Ouija. We didn't know how to pronounce Ouija. My mom didn't know what the hell we was talking about. So when the commercial came on, we showed mom like, mom, this is. She was like, that's all y'all want. We said we don't want nothing else but that. My mom was like, okay, good. So she was happy because that's one thing she didn't have to buy for two of us. So hey, we just got that one thing. So she was like, bet, cool. So we got it. My grandmother and dad and nobody knew what we was getting. So when we got it for Christmas, we was like, yes. We were so happy. So my grandma was like, come over here and show grandma what y'all got, baby. And we showed her. She's like, oh, what the hell? My grandmama said, oh, no, ma'am. And she looked at my mom like, why the hell you bought them this? My mom said, oh, ain't nothing. That's just a toy. My grandma was like, that is not a toy. And me and my sister was like, what? So we thrusting the thing in her face. Like, what's wrong with it? We had the box. She's like, get that out. Get away from me. She said, don't come near me with it. Don't come in my room with it. Stay away from me. She said, I prefer y'all to even play it while I'm in this house. Just stay away from me. I was like, why are you tripping for it? It's just a toy. My grandma was like, no, it's not. Y'all don't understand what it is. So she was trying to tell us. And my mom was just looking at her like, I guess you just don't tell us. So my grandma said, just stay away from me. Don't come with me. It's like, okay, well, fine. So my daddy came over later that afternoon to see her for Christmas. And my dad said, what y'all got, baby? So we showed our dad. My dad said, what the hell? And we was like, what? He's like, what y'all doing with that? We was like, it's just a toy. My dad was like, no, it's more than just a toy. What the? And my mom's like, leave them alone. That's what they want. That's what they got. Leave them alone. So my dad was like, no. He said, don't come around me with it. Don't bring it. Don't even bring it to, he's always pick us up and take us to his mom's house or my other grandma's house. He said, you can't take that. It can't come in the car with me. I don't want to see it. Keep it out of my eyesight. And we was like, why everybody tripping? So we was like, okay. So me and my sister was like, man, whatever. So we read the directions and we planned this thing. It always said, don't laugh over the board because you'll get a big headache or whatever. So we planned the board, just asking silly questions. And so I remember that was around after Christmas break. No, it was during Christmas break. My brother friends came over. They was like, my brother was in high school. Me and my sister was still in middle school. And so he had some older friends and they was on a basketball team. And so they was like, man, we want to know if we're going to win a championship game. We didn't know we're going to win a championship game. And so we asked the Ouija board and they said yes. And they was like, oh, okay. Well, how many points? What's the final score? So this Ouija board gave us a score. It was like 49 to 26 or something. Something like that. I'm just throwing some numbers out. So they just laugh about it and went on by their business. Y'all, please tell me why them boys came back to the house and said, man, y'all need to get rid of that shit. And me and my sister was like, get rid of what? They said that board. They said that junk is not cool. We already told our mom that's what, that y'all board was telling the truth. I said, well, did y'all win the championship game? They was like, yeah. And we was like, well, what's the problem? And I said, what was the final score? It had the exact same score. But the Ouija board said, and they was like, man, that shit ain't cool. Y'all need to get rid of it. Me and my sister was like, man, we don't see the big deal. Y'all won, so what's the big deal? They was like, no, we don't want, So they didn't want to come back over the house no more. They kept saying that junk ain't right. So me and my sister was like, okay. So anyway, so we went to church. Because we had went to church that following Sunday because they had closed church, that particular church, that Christmas, because everybody was out of town. So I remember we was at church and all the kids was upstairs and one of the pastors, junior pastors, came in and he had all the kids. We was like in a row sitting on his couch. So he started on that end. Me and my sister was on this end, back the other end. So he was going down the road asking everybody what they got for Christmas. And me and my sister looked at you, oh, girl, he gonna love our gift because, we had the best gift up in here. So he got to me and my twin. He said, so twins, what y'all get? Both of us at the same time said, a Ouija board. The pastor said, what the hell? And he said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in church. He said, what? And we was like, a Ouija board. He said, oh, no, y'all can't play with that. And we was like, it's just a game. He's like, no. He said, it's a gateway to hell. And we stopped and was like, what? He says, y'all mama and grandmama didn't tell you? And we was like, no, our grandmama just said don't come with her and play, don't come around her and play with that. He said, man, y'all need to get rid of that. That's no joke. It's no game. It's evil. It's demonic. Get rid of it. And so me and my sister was like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. So we went on by our business. So we kept playing with it. So it was telling me that I was going to have 4 kids. But first, my sister asked was, you know, was she going to have kids? And said, yeah, I was going to have 2 kids. And which she did have 2 kids. And then she asked was going to be married. It said, yeah. And when my sister asked what she was going to be, I forgot what my sister asked, but it just wouldn't move. So I said, well, get out the way. Let me ask. And I said, well, I have kids? And it's like, yeah. And I said, well, how many kids? And it said 4. But it kept jumping from 4 to 6. 4 to 6. You know, I ended up raising my sister 2 kids. I ended up with 6 kids later. And I was like, man, my sister was just, well, what that mean? We're going to have 4. I'm going to have 4 or 6 kids. So we didn't know what that meant. And I said, would I be a lawyer? Because I always wanted to be a lawyer. And it was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So I just graduated law school last year. Yay. But anywho, so I was like, okay. And so as we kept playing, this thing started getting weird. It had started moving on its own. So, you know, me and my sister, we have it sitting on the dresser or whatever. And then we know the pendulum start moving by itself. And me and my sister looking at each other because we had our twin beds and had dresser in between the beds. And so I was like, did you move it? She said, you didn't say, you know, I ain't move it. Did you move it? I said, you didn't say me move it. And so me and my sister went and stood by it. We stood over it and we was like, what's going on? And that thing spelled hurt you. It's a HURT, you know, YOU. And me and my sister looking at each other, who gonna hurt you? Who gonna hurt who? And it said me. And my sister said, who is me? And I said, And I snatched out through that thing. I said, we don't want to know who it is. I threw that shit on the floor. And I said, no, don't ask her who it is. Because it started getting weird. Then it started saying, you know, later on throughout, you know, me and my sisters just keep it under the bed. And every once in a while, we'll put it out and play with it. And like if we're going to pass our Spanish test or we're going to pass our English test or whatever, then this thing start getting mean. It's like it starts saying, kill you. It starts saying, kill you. And it said mad. And we was like, oh, hell no. So by this time, we was like, but we were about 13, 14 years old. So by this time, like a year later, we had got tired. We had, when it said kill you, me and my sister said, it's time to get rid of it. So we broke the board in half, which I don't know why, but we threw it in a trash can outside the house. And so we went to school. So when we came back to school, y'all, I kid you not, this goddamn Ouija board sitting in the middle of our room, of the floor, put together like it never been broke. So me and my sister stopped. We was walking around. We just stopped at the door. And we was like, what the hell? So we ran. We was like, Mama. My mom was like, what? We was like, did you put this Ouija board back in our room? My mom was like, what are you talking about? We was like, this Ouija board shit. We didn't tell my mom we broke it, right? Because we didn't want her to get mad because we wasted her money. She said, man, put that shit up. He came in, put that shit up and put it back under the bed. And so me and my sister ran outside. It wasn't in a trash can. So we was like, oh, hell no. So we put that thing back in the box. And because we started, the pendulum start moving, going real crazy. So me and my sister was like, oh, hell no. So we remember what the pastor said. So we threw it in a box. And we used to always walk downtown Mobile to the library on Government Street. So, and we always passed like, we knew some dumpsters around the library. So we was always walk to the library. So when we was walking to the library, we just threw it in a dumpster up there. And we was like, oh, heck no. But my grandmother told us, she said, that's why I didn't want it around. Y'all probably open something. We was like, well, why you ain't tell us when we got it? She said, I didn't want to ruin y'all childhood, but don't ever play with stuff like that again. So that was mine. But it was a few other things the thing did, but it was crazy. But all right, y'all, I got to get ready to go to work. So I'll try to make another post soon. Bye. If TikTok ain't gone by then. But all right, bye.
Whatever you do, do not talk to Zozo. I did this and messed up so bad. First of all, you guys shouldn't even be using Ouija boards. But I know some of you guys are not gonna listen to me, and talking to him is a no-no. Why does this aloe vera smell like French fries? Actually, you can't even say his name out loud 3 times or you will summon him. When I was 16, I accidentally summoned Nozo. Before I tell you what happened, let me tell you a little bit about who Bozo is. Toto is also known as the Ouija board demon. Of all the things to talk to on a Ouija board, he's not it. He is supposedly a fallen angel that was banished from the heavens by God. Some people even compare him to the actual devil. In the 1940s, a little boy named Roland Doe was possessed. It has become a widespread belief that Toto is the one that possessed him. This little boy's story is what inspired the first exorcism movie. I'm Nikki, and if you're new to my channel, I'm a professional ghost hunter. One of the reasons you have to be so careful with Ouija boards and talking to Toenail is because he can actually mimic voices of the dead. And a lot of times people using Ouija boards are wanting to talk to dead loved ones. He will prey on your insecurities and your fears, and overall he just sucks. He delights in scaring people, so whether that's telling you you're gonna pass soon or telling you there's 9 ghosts instead of 2 in the house, he even goes as far as to confuse psychics by telling them things like he's a little boy ghost and he's scared of the big bad ghost in the corner. There's a malevolent spirit in the house, but really there's only one, and it's him. He is a master deceiver, and we can go through the whole history of Bobo. Some people even think he's the only spirit that you actually talk to through a Ouija board, which I hope that is not the case because I've used a Ouija board a lot in my life. Go to part 2 and I'm going to tell you about what happened in my personal story with Momo.
This is why you should never play with a Ouija board. Before I begin, check out my other socials here and make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm always posting story times there. Just posted a new one. Also, thank you so much, Marissa, for sending in this story. So this story actually happened earlier this year, and Marissa said it all took place at her aunt's house in Mexico. During winter break, Marissa went down to visit her cousins, and like always, they wanted to make every trip they spent together memorable. She said her and her cousins rarely see each other, and because it was just her traveling down to Mexico, she didn't have to worry about her parents being down her back and nagging about every little thing. Marissa said when she arrived at her aunt's house, she was brought upstairs to the guest room where she set up her bed and got comfortable. After settling in, she went down to her cousin Sophia's room, where they discussed what activities and things they'll be doing for her winter break. One of the activities being to play with the Ouija board. Marissa said when she heard her cousin Sophia utter those words out of her mouth, she thought that she was joking, but no, she was for real. Sophia even told Marissa to not tell her own parents and not to tell Sophia's parents that they were playing this game. The only good thing about this was that Marissa said they saved this game for last. Fast forward, it's 2 days before Marissa's winter break ends, and both the girls already got through all the activities, which means the last thing on the list to do was play the Ouija board. Marissa said as soon as nighttime hit, her stomach dropped to the floor because she knew her cousin Sophia would finally want to play. Marissa said at around 12:30 a.m. while everyone was asleep, Sophia snuck into Marissa's room where she was asleep with the game. Sophia woke Marissa up, and in the moment, Marissa said she wanted to snitch on Sophia, but she knew Sophia would never forgive her. Marissa said Sophia ended up telling her that the only reason why she wanted to play this game was to see if she could contact her brother that recently passed away. This made Marissa feel horrible, and seeing Sophia cry made her agree to play the game. Both girls proceeded to sit on the bed, open up the game, read the rules, and began playing. Marissa said while they were playing, she thought it was all fake until she felt a really cold chill go down her spine when both girls were asking the spirit questions. Marissa even said at one point it felt as if someone was behind her, hovering over her shoulder. While they were playing, the spirit ended up revealing that it was Sophia's brother, and after confirming with very hard questions, Marissa said Sophia began to sob. Sophia's sobbing caused her to let go the pointer on the board, which users aren't supposed to do. Because her cousin began to cry uncontrollably, Marissa had no choice but to let go of the board and comfort her. Marissa said while she held Sophia in her arms, the light began to flicker on and off. This freaked Marissa out, but Sophia thought it was all a sign from her brother. Sophia began to ask the spirit to give them more signs if her brother was in the room. After a few seconds, both girls heard a slight knock from the window, which caused Sophia to cry even more, but Marissa felt very, very uneasy. Time passed, and the girls decided to finally go to sleep and put away the game. Marissa said putting away the game was the biggest mistake both girls ever made, and that being because they did not follow the rules properly and didn't say goodbye to the spirit that they were in contact with. Now this is where it gets really, really weird. Marissa said while she was sleeping at around 4 a.m. she was awoken by a harsh scream coming from a few rooms down, which happened to be her cousin's room. Marissa said the whole entire house woke up and rushed over to Sophia's room, where she was in there hysterically crying. Sophia ended up telling everyone that it was just a nightmare and not to worry. Marissa knew that that definitely wasn't it and it had to be something else, but because they made the promise to not tell their parents, she had to make up that lie. The morning morning of, Sophia explained to Marissa everything that happened yesterday night, and she ended up bursting into tears, explaining how the whole time that they were playing the game, thinking that it was her brother in the room with them, it wasn't him. It was a whole entire different entity. Marissa said whatever crossed over that night showed up in Sophia's room and stood beside her bed, staring down at her with hungry eyes. This made Marissa feel uneasy, but she knew that after today, she would not be there. She'd be back at home, safe and sound. Fast forward that night, both girls decided to sleep in the same exact room, and that being Marissa's guest room. Both girls wanted to make sure that this all just wasn't in their heads, and if something actually did happen, at least there would be witnesses. Marissa said at around 4 a.m. again, she was awoken by the sound of something knocking on the closet door. She quickly shook Sophia to wake up, and both girls sat up listening to the sound of whatever was happening behind that door. Marissa said both of them were petrified and held onto each other for safety. She said after a while, the knocking stopped, but then that's when they heard the doorknob of the closet door starting to turn. The door proceeded to slowly creak open, and before the two girls even allowed whatever it was behind that door to come out, they both screamed out of fear. This woke the whole house up once again, and Marissa said her aunt burst through the door. Marissa said unfortunately she did end up snitching and told her aunt everything that they did and what they were doing. Let's just say both of them got... Marissa said that morning was her flight back home, and before she left for the airport, her aunt was blessing the house and even called over multiple priests to the home. Marissa also said when she arrived home, she called her cousin, and that's when she revealed that they were supposed to say goodbye at the end. They were also supposed to dispose of the game, which they never did. They just put it away and went to sleep. When I asked Marissa if she ever encountered the spirit after coming back home, she told me that she hasn't, but she revealed her cousin has been tormented by the spirit every single night at 4 a.m. ever since.